Thank you very much for having me. It's very much appreciated, and it's a real pleasure to be here. And I must apologize for not being able to be with you in person, but it was physically impossible for me to travel this week. As you said, I have a very limited time to give you the main ideas. So try to keep it as much as possible, as short as possible, so that you're able to understand what the main activities for 2022 are. In terms of Climate-KIC, I will not give you the whole story of ours. We have been already established more than 10 years ago. And even if you have not heard of us, you already know that we, out of the name Climate-KIC, Climate Knowledge and Innovation Community, you already understand that what we are focusing on climate. And we are active in around 40 locations, 40 countries. And whenever we don't have offices, especially in risk countries, we're trying to create hub presence in these countries. And you could see currently on the map and on the slides, we have hub presence in 13 risk countries. And we work with a network of hubs in these 13 countries exactly to support us and to help us deliver climate solutions in order to adapt and to mitigate to the climate change. Long story short, we're focusing on innovation, education, and entrepreneurship activities. You see a short overview of everything that what we do, especially in risk locations. We have the accelerator, startup support. We have learning services, we have innovation projects, and we have deep demonstrations, this is the Climate-KIC specific methodologies to help stakeholders tackle very complex and systematic challenges such as climate change. Since the time is really short, I will not go into too much details into this, but this was just in a nutshell to give you an idea of the overall picture, or at least a little bit of the context. And now let's take more of the time to really focus on the activities for this year. So currently we're in the design phase, and we're planning right now risk matchmaking call. The idea of this risk matchmaking call is to facilitate an innovation matchmaking market. So in other words, we're trying to establish a direct relationship between the demand, the supply on one hand, and the demand on the other hand. The total budget is 375,000 euros. The timeline, we're still into the design, as I said, so we expect to publish it somewhere mid-May or toward the end of May, but it is coming. We are in a very mature stage of drafting the call. So at this point, I cannot provide you more information on this specific call, but what I would say is that please go to our website in 1 to 2 weeks from now, and you'll be able to take a look at it. When it comes to the other activities, we're working this year very closely with the new European Bauhaus, and we're issuing together with them 5 call for proposals. I know that also the other KICs are working also with the new European Bauhaus, and I assume that they will also mention these calls in their presentation, so I will not go into too many details. But what you could see on the slide is that 3 of them are already published. So if you think that they're interesting to you, if you think that you might be involved in them in any way, please go to our website or the website of the new European Bauhaus, and you could take a look at the published calls. And in any case, if you believe that none of the 3 published calls are currently for you, please keep checking the websites. And towards the second half of the year, there will be 2 other calls that will be published as well. As I said in the beginning of my presentation, wherever we don't have an office, especially in risk locations, we're working with this network of hubs. And this is the case in Latvia. We are working closely with the risk hub in Latvia. Here is on the slide, you could see the 4 entities constituting the hub. We have the Rīgas Tehniskās University as the hub coordinator. We have the Institute for Environmental Solutions as hub member, Association Green and Smart Technology Cluster, and the Institute of Solid State Physics also as hub members. Here is I would like to take just 30 seconds to thank to all of them, to all 4 of these entities for their hard work and dedication during the past several years that we worked with them. It's really the connection with them and what they deliver on the ground has been very important to Climate-KIC. So it's really a very nice collaboration to have them on board and to have them support us in these issues. When it comes to 2022, we have designed together with the hub 4 events. We're still in the very initial stages of the design, so there are not many details, but what you could see on the slide is that we're planning to have an event with the startups from the Baltics and the Slovakia Climate Accelerator. We're planning to have an ecosystem engagement, a 3rd event, content specific on circular economy issues, and the 4th one to be the Climathon in 2022. As I said, they're still into a very early stage of design. So in several weeks or a month from now, please take a look at the website on the presentation, and you could have a bit more details about the speakers, stakeholders, and of course the potential dates. As I said, on the ground in Latvia, everything that has been managed goes through the hub. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the hub manager. You could see the contact details on the presentation. And in case you have a bit more generic questions towards Climate-KIC in general, feel free to reach out to me as well. I'll be very happy to get back to you. Just a very short disclaimer. Actually, I started just a few weeks ago, so I'm still quite new to Climate-KIC. So even if I don't have the answer for you, I'll be more than happy to speak with some of the more experienced colleagues and get back to you. And since I was told that this is a very, very short presentation, I tried to keep it to the minimum possible information. So thank you very much for this. It's very much appreciated. And if you have any questions, feel free. I will stop sharing my presentation now.
Thank you, Nasko. Thank you very much. Round of applause. Before COVID era, climate questions were really, really important, and even the general public felt that finally we have to do something about it. And then suddenly there's COVID, there's war, there's always something more severe and acute pressing, and it is maybe at this point very, very pressing and depressing, I must say. So how your main directions are doing now? Are they being postponed? What is the attitude of governments and institutions at this point? Because there's always other priorities.
Yeah, I understand. I'll be very honest with you. As you said, there is always something more urgent popping up. There is always something more important popping up, or at least in the short term. What we're trying to do is we're really trying to present that there is nothing more urgent and more important than climate, because climate affects all systems. It affects everybody, everywhere on the planet. There is you cannot hide from it. And if we think that the lockdown from COVID was a long one, imagine what would happen when you had a whole summer with unbearable temperature that you will not be able to go out of your house, and you will be locked inside your house one way or another. And many other examples I could give, but indeed this is one of our let's say main goals, to keep saying and keep insisting that if we do not pay attention to climate change right now, at some point when it becomes the real urgent issue, it might be really too late to do anything about it. So, but as you said, it is quite difficult, yes, and it takes quite a lot of energy and effort.
All right, questions from audience, please. Anybody? To add something maybe, or to suggest. By the way, one question. Do you have new directions considering what's happening in the world? Is there anything you've added in the last 2 years, for example, and thinking we have to add this because it's very important? I understand you can't do it now officially, but thinking about.
Is it about me?
Yeah, that was question to you. Have you noticed or observed some new needs?
What we have been trying to really work on is the so-called systems change. So currently what we have in the past, let's say 10 years, we have a lot of projects on climate change, but they really feel like point here, point there. So one project here, one project there, one project in third country, third, fourth location, and so on and so on. So what we're trying to do is really trying to create the network or the connection, the synergies between all these projects in order to affect the systems and actually change the systems that could potentially improve the climate change. So this is what we have been trying to shift also our model internally, so that we do not do it one-shot basis, like one project here, one project there, one project in the third country. The idea is really to try to see everything as a system and to try to influence it as a system, and eventually to really find the synergies and the added value of what has been happening after that, after the projects have been delivered.
Anything to add? Yes, that's it.
I would add that definitely New European Bauhaus is one of the recent initiatives, and actually you mentioned it, and I would be very much interested to know if there are institutions in Latvia and people interested in the New European Bauhaus ideas. What kind of help, assistance they can get from you, or how could they collaborate with you? What would be your answer?
Unfortunately, to this, I could still need to go back to the disclaimer I made into the questions, because I started just a few weeks ago. For this specific question, I do not have the answer, and because it's the colleagues that are actually doing the collaboration with the New European Bauhaus. But what I could suggest is just drop me an email. You saw my contact details, and even if you Google me, I'm pretty sure that you'll see my contact details also on Google. Drop me a very short email. I will be more than happy to get you in touch with the colleagues who are doing the collaboration with the New European Bauhaus, and you could take it directly from there and get all the information that you need.
And Nasko, that will be the way you will get into direct contact with a member of European Parliament. Yes, that's a melbārde. By the way, welcome to the system, I must say, and we're really looking forward for you being excellent in what you do. Thank you, Nasko.